when the other three are rejecting Chizkiah's view, why? Because they don't think the Kohanim are going to fight over this. Each one has his own day, whatever God gives you that day. What does it matter if it came from the box or it came from a Jew that got a korban? You got the leather. Why are you fighting? Which makes a lot of sense. We're not worried about Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan, we don't like. We are also rejecting his view. The other three. Why? Because we're not worried about the money getting all rotten in there. Then they didn't have paper money; it was all coins. We're not holding according to Zeiri. Zeiri was the one that said we have to have a separate box for every type of animal, large or small. It's one opinion. Rabbi's opinion, Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, that the korbanot are supposed to be exact. So if you promised an egel, you cannot go up to a part, is a single opinion. We're not going to, to go and say that history was according to a yachid is hard. You have to have some proof. So just the fact that the number of the box correspond doesn't add. So we're not going to go that way also. Kevarpada namelo amre. Varpada is the one that said parim milim kvasim sirim. Then he had mutarot en ma'eh for the machatzit shekel. Mutarot kulu name. Mutarot kulu name mutarot. Ba'a name leshkalim masla. Varpada, when you read Varpada, it repeats itself because parim elim kvasim sirim. How do you get the money? It's for extra money, right? Or you found the animal after you lost it. So what do you need another basket of mutarot? It's the same idea. And then you have Dema'ah, and they don't hold, you'll see here, that there was actually a specific box in these charity boxes for the extra money for the shkalim. They disagree with that concept. Why? It goes to shkalim, has nothing to do with these boxes. There was a separate box for shkalim. So he probably holds like Rabbi Meir, not Rabbi Eliezer. Now we're getting to the two opinions that we're going to talk about a little more. How do we get to the 6 boxes? Shmuel Amar, Keneged Mutar Chatat. Extra money from Chatat. Umutar Hasham. Korban Hasham, if you had extra cash, prices went down, you had extra. Umutar Hasham Nazir. And he's separating between Hasham, a regular Hasham, and Hasham Nazir. Umutar Hasham Metzorah. Umutar Minchat Chote. ומותר עשירית היפה של כהן גדול. That's a new concept. מותר מנחה, so מותר חטאת, מותר אשם, מותר אשם נזיר, מותר אשם מצורע. All these are korbanot. We have extra cash, or you found the animal, depends on the specific case, and he separates between the different types. ומותר מנחת חוטא. Remember, מנחת חוטא, I believe he means here the korban oleva yored. A very poor person can bring just the solet, doesn't have to bring an animal. So what happens if a very poor person allocated 10 shekels to buy solet for minchat choteh? He ended up spending only 8. That's where he puts the other 2. Umutar asirit hayefa shel kohen gadol. Now this is a big chidush here. He actually, remember, the kohen gadol has to bring a mincha, what we call minchat chavitin. They bake it in the morning, and they divide it. He brings half in the morning and half in the afternoon, right? It's a machloket how you divide it. Rambam says you actually, the Rambam and the Ravad is machloket. Some say you actually have to bake from the beginning 6 and 6. Others say you actually you bake 12 and you break them into halves and halves. But for our case, this Kohen Gadol allocated cash for the mincha and had extra cash. So he puts that extra cash in this specific box. So this is kind of unique because this is a very specific, it's not a korban tzibur, it's not a korban in general, this is a Kohen Gadol. So it's very unique. What brings him to go all the way to the Kohen Gadol? Not to mention, if you see, all the other korbanot are either chatat or asham. It has to do with chatat or asham. Minchat Kohen Gadol, the Serita Efashel Kohen Gadol, is not really a korban chatat. It's being brought as everyday part of the process. It's not like he sinned every day and has to bring a... And we'll see why he adds it up. There's a reason he kind of like puts it together with the chatat. They're going to say later on, in Sefer Yecheskel, there's a pasuk that actually refers to it as chatat. So that's why he puts it there. We'll see. Rabbi Yoshaya has a different opinion. He's going to have more or less the same, except he's going to change one. Mutar chatat, mutar asham nazir, mutar asham metzorah, mutar kinin, mutar minchat choteh. He takes out the Kohen Gadol and he puts in kinin. Kinin, if you remember, is the two gazalot, the two little chicks, very cheap korban, that in some cases, usually zav, zava, yoledet have to bring. The way it used to work is, you'd put your money in the box, and you assume that 100% by the end of the day, the Kohanim already took the money, they bought the two gazalot, one for chatat, one for olah, they sacrificed them, and that person is tahor. That person can eat kosher food, any food, truma, masrot, whatever. Why? Because we assume it's like it worked very efficiently. You put the money in, you assume by the night you're tahor. They already did the korban for you. You don't have to call, get a slip, get an email. It was done. Okay. So now we have the difference between them. One says mutar kinin, and one of them has asarita efa shel kohen gadol. That's the difference, right? Everything else is the same. Shmuel that says asarita efa of kohen gadol has that seventh box. Why doesn't he hold kinin? Now, Shmuel has a good answer. Kinin tana li resha. He says, we're talking about the 6 boxes here. We had the 7 boxes initially. The 7 boxes that we know, one of them is named kinim already. It's named kinim. It's not named mutar kinim, the extra money for kinim, it's named kinim. So why would we need another box for mutar kinim? We already have a box called kinim. Rabbi Yoshaya, Tane velo tane kinin. Rabbi Yoshaya, by the way, was one of the, what they call, Shonei HaBraitot. His job, back then there was one of the rabbis who had a good memory, who had a clear, he used to be the one who used to say all the Mishnayot and Braitot by heart. He used to stand up and start reciting them, not with just knowing them top of his head. That's how they learned back then. Rabbi Yoshaya was the one who did all the Braitot. How can Rabbi Yoshaya not know that there's one kinim? Because there's a Braitot that specifically, he mentions it. Chad lekinim, chad lemutar. Rabbi Yoshaya says, what do you want? One is kinim. One is, if I want to put money in, so I'll go home and know that the Kohanim will take the money, buy the korban for me, and sacrifice it for me. And one is for mutar kinim. I dedicated 10 shekels. Ended up, they told me it's only 8 shekels. I put 8, I took the other 2, and I put it in the other box. That's why I need mutar kinim. Rabbi Yoshaya, why does he need one for the extra money that Kohen Gadol has from his minchat chavitin on a daily basis? Why? Savarla keman de'amar mutar shel asirit ha'efa shel Kohen Gadol yirakev. He holds that the extra cash that Kohen Gadol has to be just thrown and let it rot. It can't be used for anything. We'll see why. The Tanya, mutar minchat nedava, mutar mincha yirakev. What does that mean? My kama is bringing a proof from a bright eye which is unclear. The Tanya mutar minchat nedava, mutar mincha irakev. What does this mean? My kama, Amar Vichista, Achi kama. Mutar minchat chote nedava. Mutar minchat chote goes to nedava. If korban olav red, if we had extra money, the ani had extra cash, puts it in the kupa of nedava. However, mutar asirit ha'efa shel Kohen Gadol, that rots. That doesn't go into a box. That has hektish in it. You can't use it for the next day. Why? The concept is, next day for the Kohen Gadol is a complete chiyuv. He's got to do it every day. So you cannot use the extra from the first day to the second day. Because the extra from the first day is chola. That's it. Done. Finished. It had a name. Can't use it. So what do they do with it? They let it rot, which is a fascinating concept. You take money and just let it rot. I thought irakev means food. I look it up. It's the money. You just throw the money there, you let it rot.
How does that happen?
With their coins?
Come to my house any day of the week. It happens every minute.
Have you seen an old penny?
Mine
and don't forget, back then the copper, it wasn't clean. It wasn't clean. It wasn't like today. It was,
refined,
it wasn't refined. Rabba Amar afilu mutar asirit ha'efa shel Kohen Gadol name nedava. Rabba disagrees. He says the extra money from the Kohen Gadol, the daily korban, goes to nedava. Ela, when we say mutar irakev, we're talking about mutar lachme toda irakev. Somebody who had to bring korban toda and he had extra cash from the money that he allocated to the 40 breads. That money can't be used for anything else. And why are they arguing about? Because we have Rav Chisda and Rabba arguing what is the extra cash that if you have, you cannot ever use again. One says it's the Kohen Gadol, one says it's from lachme toda. What are they arguing about? B'flukta mutar asirit shel Kohen Gadol. The same argument that other rabbis have. Rabbi Yochanan amar nedava about Kohen Gadol. Rabbi Eliezer amar irakev.
In other words, this is not their own machloket. It dates back. Meitive. Now we're going to ask a question about the opinion that said that extra money from the Korban Kohen Gadol, the Minchat Kohen Gadol, rots. Mutar shkalim chulim. Somebody needs to give half a shekel, and he exchanged the money, and he thought he had worth of half a shekel, but he had extra. He ended up having 3/4 of a shekel in there in another currency. He only meant to give half a shekel. The extra cash is chulin. That's obvious because in his head he wants to give a chatzis shekel. It's like when you're paying your taxes and your bill is $10 and you paid 11 because for whatever reason, you get the dollar back. You're not going to say, okay, you pay, we'll take the 11.
Refund.
Yeah, half a shekel was like a tax. Think about it as a tax. Umutar asirit haifa. That's what mutar. We'll see that. We'll see what are we talking about here. ומותר קיני זווין, וקיני זוות, וקיני ילדות, וחטאות, והאשמות, מותרי נדבה. All these mutarot, all this extra cash that we have after we did the korban is all goes to nedava. So what is mutar asirit haifa here? My love, mutar asirit haifa she Kohen Gadol. Isn't this the extra money that the Kohen Gadol has if he allocated more money than he needs for his mincha on a daily basis? So that actually means it doesn't rot. We use it for nedava. Lo. We're rejecting this. Mutar minchat chote. Mutar asirit haifa is actually minchat chote. It's the same argument. Is it Kohen Gadol, extra money goes to rot, or minchat chote that goes to rot? Minchat chote, remember, again, the Korban Levi, I think it can also mean, I'm not sure, it can also mean the mincha of minchat serum of Isha Sota. I think it can also mean that in some cases. I'm not sure here, but I'm pretty sure, maybe yes. Because these are the only two minchat choteh that we have. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, mistabra keman de'amar, mutar asirit haifa shekohen gadol yirakev. It sounds like this should be the right opinion, that the extra money from the Kohen Gadol chavitin korban has to rot. Why? The Tanya, lo yasim alea shemen. This is, we're talking about that korban. Lo yiten alea levona, ki chatat hi. We're talking about minchat choteh here. Minchat choteh, we have a specific pasuk. We don't put oil. We don't put levona on it. I mean, it makes sense. It's a korban chat. It's like a korban chatat. You're not going to put spices on it to make it smell good. That's not the idea of chatat. Ki chatat hi. That means this is chatat. Hi kruya. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Hi kruya chatat ve'en acheret kruya chatat. לימד על עשירית היפה של כהן גדול שאינה קרויה חטאת ותאונה לבונה, מדינה קרויה חטאת, מותרה עיר עקב. Notice he says there's a specific pasuk about minchat choteh. And from that pasuk, because it says, this is the only chatat, this is the chatat, that means any other thing that is mincha is not chatat, and because of that, the extra cash cannot be used for nedava, it has to rot. Now, what I forgot to mention is, the Kohen Gadol, at the time, Yoyada, he's the one that actually made this drasha, that extra money from chatat, extra money from Asham, can be used for nedava. That's how we got into it. That's the reason the whole thing starts with him, the boxes, the reason why you give the extra cash, all starts with this Kohen Gadol, Yoyada. Okay. Now we're going to go into again, how do we phrase a neder, and how does it apply? And this is actually counterintuitive the first time you read it. Matnitin, shor ze ola. Somebody said this ox is for ola. V'nistaev. Nistaev is actually an Aramaic word which means became tameh. He got a mum. An animal came, ate his ear off. Nistaev. Im ratza, if the person wants, yavi bedamav shnayim. Can bring two. Person wants, he can bring two. In other words, he can go up. Yeah, same money, of course, same money. He takes the cash, whatever the cash is, spends it on two animals. Shnei shvarim elu ola. If he had two oxen and he said both of them are going to be ola, v'nista'avu, both became baalei mum. Ratza yavi b'daim echad. He can go down to one to use the cash, whatever the two are worth. Buy one. Yeah, same money.
$500.
Same money. But you are actually reducing the number of korbanot you're bringing.
I'm just saying about monetary value.
Yeah. Rabbi Oser. Rabbi says no.
I agree.
Now it makes a lot of sense because
It's gonna get messed up.
Rabbi's opinion has been all along that you have to bring exactly what you promised. You have a shachor lavan. If you promised a black one, you bring a white one. If you promised a big one, if you promised a small one, you cannot bring a big one. You can't even improve your korban. Exactly what you promised. Ayil ze'ola. Somebody said about this ram is going to be for ola. Nistaev became bal mum im ratzah yavi b'damav keves. He can go down, bring the same money. He can bring a fat lamb because ayil is like a lamb, it's just 2 years old. So assuming a very fat 1 year would cost the same as a very thin 2 year.
Same price
I'm
per
just
pound.
assuming, yeah, whatever it is, probably bought quality pound. Keves ze'ola, promised a lamb, 1 year lamb. V'nistaev im ratzah yavi b'damav ayil. Can go up and bring an ayil, same money. Rabbi oseh, Rabbi says no. Now, this is very different than we learned before. Because when we learned before, you didn't have so much flexibility. Not to mention, here you actually can go down. If you promised an aisle, you can go to a keves. I mean, that's, or you promised a par, you can go, you know. So the question is, why? And this is where we get to the concept of achrayut. And the Gemara is asking the obvious questions. Ve'a amart resha, shor b'maneh ve'vishnayim b'maneh lo yatsa. Didn't we learn a couple of days ago? If I say, I'm going to bring an ox b'maneh. That's the cost of an ox. And I ended up bringing 2 for the same cost. Lo yatsa. Doesn't work. You said it doesn't work. You have to bring exactly what you promised. So how does this work? Shor zeh. Didn't we just say here, if I said this ox for Olah, and I ended up, I couldn't bring it because of a moon, I can bring 2. How does that work? The Gemara says it's different, Shane. Why? This is the concept of achrayut. I'm going to read the Rashi. Dekevan de amar ze, because he used the word ze, this is specified. Ze akriv olah, this will be olah. V'nistaev, and he became balmum. Azale nidre, the tulo mitzvah lemikrev. The neder went away. He cannot bring this korban. Ela atam de amar alay shor b'maneh chayav ad sheyavieno. There on the other one, he didn't specify. He says, I'm going to bring a shor for a maneh. That's the one you have to. In other words, there's a concept of achrayut. When you say, thank you, when you say this ox, you have, your achrayut starts and ends with this ox. You give a warranty on this ox. That's it. If that ox does not exist anymore, you can't bring it practically. You can't bring it because he has a move. You still have to bring a korban because the value of the money is the value of the ox, but you can, according to at least rabbis, according to one of the rabbis, you can go up, use the same money, bring a small one, bring a big one, but we'll see, can you bring a different type?
A pledge is a pledge.
Pledge remains, but on the value, not on the specific animal, which is a very big, because you specified this. That means if it's not this, you have flexibility.
Well, l'chachila, you bring that one, but it didn't work out, so do you have to bring...
Yeah, that's the rabbi's
equivalent
opinion.
value.
Yeah, and we'll see, is there also a limitation to this flexibility? If you said this shore, and can you end up bringing 2 rams or 3 lambs or that's how flexible can you go according to this? שני שברים אלו, I'm reading the third line, שני שברים אלו עולה ונסתעבו, רצה יביא בדמיהם אחד ורבי אוסר. We know that, we said in the Mishnah we just read, if you promise 2 specific 2 oxen, and for Olah, they're no good anymore, you can bring with the money 1. Rabbi says no. My Tama. Why is Rabbi saying no? Mishum dehave legadol ve'evi katan. We know that Rabbi has the opinion that you cannot go down in the, I would say, the
Category.
Not necessarily the quality, but also the number. For him, gadol and katan is not just, you promised 2, even if you're going to use the same money to use 1, it's still 1. Think about it this way. 2 have more avodah on the mizbeach. There's 2 akravat imurim, there's 2 shchitot, there's more kedusha in 2. 1, you only have 1. So he doesn't like the idea of you promised a big one and you brought a small one. Doesn't work. Here, meaning a korban, a big korban, and you brought a smaller korban because you went down from 2 to 1, even though it's the same value. In other words, Rabbi is saying this, well, what do you want? According to when Rabbi says Oser, it was like Tchila. In other words, but b'diavad, you have no choice. It works. Because what are you supposed to do? That's what you have. You spent the money, you got that, you said this specific. which also makes a lot of sense. In other words, Rabbi says from Gadol to Katan you cannot work. That's like Tchila, but b'diavad you're allowed to do it. That's what we were understanding it.
Hold on, quick question. It's not the same money because if he spent $500 on the first one,
Okay.
he lost the $500. He's got to go back to the market and buy another $500.
No, he sells it.
How's he selling
He
it?
redeems it. He sells it. He takes the money. That's
But
the
it's
whole
gonna,
process.
right, but it's not going to have the same value because there's
I thought
a
about
discount because it's not
That's
a pure
That's
tamim.
I actually thought about it. Wouldn't the price of the shore after the moon cost less?
20% less, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the answer is. I thought about that. I don't know if you price it based according without the moon or with the moon.
The
I don't
original
know.
purchase price. Isn't it?
Yeah, it should be because that was the price that you.
So he's really
But
out that
originally-
plus the vig
Yeah.
of a plate of getting
Yeah.
back a new. You buy
Yeah.
a car, you smack it up, you
Yeah.
already lost your value.
Okay. Uliflug name beresha. Rabbi now, if you read the Mishnah, Rabbi looks like he only disagrees about the second part. If you read it like, simple. Sholze, Olav, and I brought one ox, I promised one ox, became a Balmum, I can switch the money into two. However, if I promise two and I want to switch to one, Rabbi said, okay, Rabbi Oser. So it looks like Rabbi Oser is only on the Resha, right?
Mhm.
Or only on the end, only
Sefer,
on the
sefer,
second
sefer,
part,
sefer.
only on the Sefer. However, the Gemara explains as Rabbi La'akul Milta Palig. Rabbi disagrees with the whole concept. He doesn't let you, for like Tchila, he doesn't like you switching from 2 to 1 or 1 to 2, even if it's the same value. In other words, he waited until the end of their halacha, and then he said, I disagree. Don't literally read it that he just disagrees about the second part. He disagrees also on the first part, which makes a lot of sense because Rabbi has a very clear view here about nedarim. You bring what you promise, don't go up, don't go down. And not to mention, how else can you prove this? Look at the continuation of the Mishnah. Teda de katane, ayil ze ola v'nistayev. You promised a big sheep, a ram, and it became a balmum. You can go down to your keves. Keves ze ola v'nistayev. You promised a keves, but you want to bring a ram now, which is a bigger. Yavi bedamav ay. Rabbi Oser. Rabbi says no. Same thing. Rabbi says no about first part and the second part. That's his view. Iba eleho memina lemina mai. Are you allowed to switch from one type to another type? I'm not talking about age now. Talking about an ox to a lamb. Tashema. Shor ze olav v'nistayev lev v'namavai. There's a braita. If you have a shore, you said this ox, and ended up being a balmum, you cannot bring with the money an ayil, a ram, even a very big fat ram. Can't do it. Aval mevi bedamav shnei elim. But you can bring with it 2 rams. Not 1 ram, but 2 rams. Rabbi Yoser, and Rabbi says no. Why is Rabbi Yoser, right? But you would think because you're changing, right? No, lefishe en bila. He says no. Shore is 1 mincha, 2 elim are 2 minchas, doesn't work. Shmami. Now, obviously this completely contradicts everything we just learned. Because suddenly Rabbi talks about bila, doesn't talk about gadol, katan, and suddenly the rabbis talk about you can bring 2, but you can't bring 1. Well, what do they care? If it's in value, we said we can go up and down, right? So why? But before we go into all these questions, the first rule we learn from here, you can change species. You can, it's just a matter of how you do it, but according to Chachamim, you can do it. Whether you switch from 1 to 2 or 1 to 1, doesn't matter. You can switch.
Could you go from a ram to back to flour and wafers because you ran out of money?
There's actually, they ask about, well, that's only Korban Olevei you can run out of money, you can go up and down.
Right. But if
they say no, animals and Minchot are
because your
different
investment, you
categories.
lost your cash.
Animals are
I used my
different.
life savings. I got nothing left. What do you want me to do? I got to
No,
get
but
some flour.
the only place where your money is stuck, the only place where your money is not stuck in that specific korban is korban olevei red. That's why it's called olevei red. It's attached to your financial well-being. Okay, so now we have this.
We like that.
Yeah, but the question here is if you spent money on the ram and now you got to replace the ram, but you have no money to replace another ram, can you go and get something?
No, but you're selling the ram.
Again,
You're
but
getting
for
the
a
money by
discount.
you're getting the money by selling the
I'm
ram.
stuck on that. I'm sorry. I'm stuck on that.
You're selling the money by selling the ram. The ram doesn't stay in your possession. You sell the ram, you take the money, and you use it for whatever you use it.
There's a spread.
שמע מינה, איח מאיר יתרה, אפילו חד נמי. Why, you all asked the right question. Because what did we say in this bright? Show ze olav and istayev, you can bring 1, but you can bring 2. Why 2? Afilu chad nami, even one should be okay, because we just said that it's about the money, it's not about the number, according to rabbis. De'ah ben istav leRabanan lo shana lo ben gadol lekatan. It shouldn't matter for the rabbis whether it's gadol, 2 korbanot, 1 same value. Trei tanai v'ali b'Rabanan. The answer is very simple. In Rabbanan's view that you're allowed to switch from 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, there is a sub-opinion that says you're allowed to switch from 1 to 2, but not from
2 to 1 because he promised
you're allowed to switch from 1 to 2, but you cannot switch from, like you cannot go down. That's what they say. Even the rabbis that say that you can switch, you cannot go down in the number of korbanos. You promise 2, you can't bring 1. That's their view. Rabbi Yosef lefi shein bila, we'll finish this. Rabbi Yosef lefi shein bila. Rabbi, what does he have to do with bila? This has to do with the mincha. When did Rabbi bring the concept of mincha into this? Tama dein bila, ayesh bila shari, and if there was bila, it would be okay. What do we care about how many menachot you're bringing? Since when is that even a reason? Ve'atnan, and then we learn ayil ze ola v'nistaev, ratzah b'namav keves, keves ze ola v'nistaev, v'namav ayil. Ve'Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi said you cannot switch from lamb to a ram, even though it's 1 mincha. So he doesn't care about really the number of minchot. That's not a reason. Within Rabbi, there is a sub-opinion also, that some hold it, some say that his reasoning was the mincha, and some say his reasoning is in gadol, katan, katan, gadol. In other words, we have 2 main opinions. We have the rabbis that say, one opinion of rabbis, you can change anything, any way you want it. And then within that opinion, we have that you can only change from katan to gadol, can do gadol katan. And then we have with Rabbi, can't change anything, nothing, no matter what, gadol, katan, katan, gadol. And within the Rabbi's opinion, we have an opinion that says it has to do with the number of minachot. In other words, if it's the same mincha, I'm okay. If it's 2 or 1 or 1 and 2, it's not okay. We'll end here. 6:15.
Thank you.
Thank you.